Good evening and welcome to episode 21 of Podcast for Dads. I am Jay, aka HinduDad. With me this evening we have Mr. B, Bav, and over here we've got Smitty Hindocha from Gujarati. Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you.
How are you this week?
How am I? I'm pretty good actually. I can see the wood for the trees right now. Next week kids are going back to school.
Is that something that you've been waiting for a little while then?
I think the on and off is there's been a lot of it, hasn't it, recently? So it'd be quite nice when the kiddos go back. I think it's good for them as well, right? So yeah,
definitely. I think we've come to learn that a lot of people have found that although it's been nice to spend that amount of time with their children, there is also a level of discipline that schools give them that they don't necessarily adhere to at home, shall we say.
Oh, completely. But I think also the thing that's been really nice these last few weeks is that you can actually, I've been able to play with my children as opposed to teach them the whole time. Do you know what I mean? It's been nice in that sense.
Have you found it very difficult being the teacher, parent, managing both roles?
No, they just don't listen. No, I'm joking. They do listen. they do listen every now and then. But it's kind of, no, I don't know. I guess because of what I do, it is a little bit easier because I can think of ideas and things that I can do with them. But sometimes it's a bit hard to constantly be the teacher. Definitely. It's nice just to be able to be mum.
I was just going to say, I'm sure it's just nice to be mum again, isn't it? And just spend time with them and enjoy rather than having to instill them with discipline, shall we say.
Exactly, and get through certain things. Like when your school sets you things, you've got to get through a certain number of things per day, right? And if you don't get through it, then they're on your case. So your kid falls behind, and you don't want to do that. So it's fine. But I think he'll enjoy that discipline going back in, but he'll enjoy all his friends and stuff as well. I think that's the nicest thing.
I was going to say, how did they find the whole kind of, obviously they went back for a few weeks and then again they were off for 2 weeks again. How did they find that kind of patch where they were allowed back into school?
Do you know what? The excitement was palpable at home. It was amazing. They were so excited to go back. And rightly so as well. I think, all your friends are there. They're all I think they'd had enough of playing with adults at home, right? And they're looking forward to playing with people their own size, with just that little bit taller, and just that little bit more boring, right? Kids play the most amazing, imaginative games. And I'm sorry, but I can't do zombies the way that they do it. I just can't. Just can't play zombies the same way. But so it was good, watching them go back to school. But then, coming home as well, it's been nice because things have opened up a bit more in these holidays. For them we've done play dates now in the park, which has been so nice because we haven't been able to do it for so long. So it's nice to get a bit of normality.
I mean, for Bav and I, our boys have never really had a play date, right? Because for the entirety of their lives, they've been stuck in lockdown. And we had them meet for the first time this week, and that was an experience for us all,
Oh, what did they do? Were they touching each other's faces and stuff?
Not even. I think they were both a little bit shy around each other to begin with. I think they warmed up after a while. Yeah, it was just I'm in a different environment, or there's a new child here. What's going on?
Why is there someone smaller than me here? What's all this about? Everyone I'm around is always these big adults all around me. Telling me what to do, walking around me. I see another little baby there, and this baby's not moving like me. He's a bit smaller than me. What am I going to do here? And you can see the confusion, and he's like, okay, what is this?
He's such a cutie though, Kailin is, honestly.
And he's like, I've got toys now. Let me play with toys instead. And he's like, these aren't my toys, but I'll play with them anyway. So I was just
that's the best thing for them, isn't it? It's like something new. This is so cool.
No, he has the same toys. Don't get me wrong, but he won't play with his own, right? This is somewhere else, right? New environment. Let me play with these ones instead. They're different to my ones.
But also, other babies become toys as well. That's the reason I was thinking about touching the face and stuff, because it's like, this is actually a moving real thing that I can play with because it's my size.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Hopefully a few more to come, Jay. Hopefully a few more to come in the next coming weeks.
Definitely. It'd be nice to get out and about. Smitty, tell us a bit more about yourself and the family.
So I am. Do you know when you introduced the show, you said it was the 21st episode, and I was so itching to say, and that's exactly my age. Do you know what I mean? I was itching to say that, but it's not. I'm a little bit older than that. I won't say online how old I am, but I'm a little bit older.
Do we not get the privilege that being that we've had lockdown birthdays, we can
Talk about
cycle
how
back.
old?
No, just cycle back the age.
Yeah, that's a good idea actually. Last year didn't happen, right? So we can just, I like that. I'll take that, but I still won't reveal my age. Anyway, so I am married. Been married for 12 years this year now, and have 2 little bubs. So I have an older one he's 7, Sahil, and his younger sister is 4 and almost a half. I'm not allowed to forget the half bit, so she's almost 4 and a half. She's
constantly reminding you. No,
she is.
I'm 4 and a half.
Exactly. It's like everyone she meets, she's like, I'm 4 years old. And I'm like, hey, you'll be 4 and a half soon. She's like, now she's like, I'm 4 and a half. I'm like, leave it now. Okay, that's fine. It's done. So yeah, and that's us. That's the 4 of us. We've got family, lots of family around us. I'm in Northwest London. The home
Have you always
of
been in London?
I've always been in London, but not this part of London. I grew up in. I don't know if you guys play rugby or know much about it, but I grew up right next door to Twickenham rugby ground. So I grew up in Twickenham, and spent all of my childhood there, at the beginning of my adult days, and then came here in Northwest London about 15. I'm doing that, aren't I? I'm giving my age away. I'm stopping now. I'm stopping right there.
Just skip that part.
That was unintentionally intentional.
Exactly. But yeah, no, came over here into adulthood when I was an adult. How's that? A number of years ago, and then got married around this end as well. So yeah, it's been good. Lots of different. Oh gosh, yeah, lots and lots of different things.
Well, I was actually going to ask whether you moved to North London after you got married, and because of marriage, you moved up to the north.
No. Moved with my mum and dad when my brother got married, actually. And then just didn't go back because loads of our families around this end. So it's kind of, how it is. It's like my parents' brothers and sisters were all over here, and it was quite nice to have like family close by. But very different. I've got to admit, it's
in a good way or a bad way, because me and my wife always argue about the north and the south of London.
Which bit do you come from?
I'm north and she's south.
And so you prefer south as well, or?
I hope he doesn't.
No, not at all. I'm solid north.
No. Solid north. I guess I see the advantages of living here because obviously with what I do and stuff. But I guess I'm really grateful that I grew up where I did, because I think you learn a completely different thing when you're living in a more diverse society, and it was a lot more diverse where I was. And it's not so much here. It's nice, it's lovely, don't get me wrong, but it's very different, and it took a bit of adjusting for me when I first moved. But it's fine now.
You can't complain. You got good food places around you as well, so you can't complain.
This is true. This is very true. But are you trying to say my cooking's not good then?
No. Oh. Every now and again, you need those takeaway. Call them up, quickly. Especially during this last year, right? Restaurants have not been open.
Well, the thing is,
everyone's best friend.
To put it into the simplest context, you've probably got about the best Uber delivery system around. Do you know what I mean? In terms of the availability of different cuisines around you.
Definitely. There's a lot around here, isn't there? There definitely is. And it is, it's true. That's true. I could say that. But I don't know. I don't know very much. I'm not very, I don't do takeaways very often, so I'm not really sure about it as much. I prefer going into restaurants.
Yeah.
I prefer going into
restaurants.
All. I miss it.
Oh, definitely. What's the one restaurant that you miss the most?
Oh, man. I guess I know this is going to sound so sad, but Bombay Central, I love Bombay Central, and I'm looking forward to going back there. How about you guys?
Ooh. You know what? As sad
I
as
love
this
that
is gonna
sharp
sound,
intake of breath.
It's just the Nandos.
That's what my husband keeps saying as well. That's what she keeps saying. It's like Nandos.
Well, we got an opportunity to go during like lockdown easing, and literally the whole experience was it was almost completely different. The food was great. The service was a lot better.
Yeah.
Thomas, we will go there, because I'm still owed a Nando's for my birthday.
Yeah.
If you click on the comments button in the top corner, Smitty, as well, you'll see that there's a couple of comments coming in.
Oh, okay.
And Thomas is our top fan.
Brilliant. Hi, Thomas. How you doing? And Sunita's on as well. Hello.
Yeah, we did do it, Sunita. We got in touch and we got there in the end.
We did.
No,
Thank you.
In terms of Nando's, one thing that I loved is that you go up to the door, you scan the QR, you jump into a virtual queue. Fantastic. I don't need to stand out in the cold. I can go sit in a warm car. Do you know what I mean?
That is true.
When you go in, you now scan these little QR codes on the table, and that's how you place your order directly through the app. So you don't even need to go and interact with them at the counter anymore. It's fantastic.
You're happy about this. You're happy about this.
I was going to say, you sound like you're too happy about not talking to anyone when you get in there. Just bring me my food. That's it, done.
That's it. If I could pre-order and do it, it'd be fantastic. Do you know what I mean? Just turn up, ready, let's go. But the whole fact is they want to keep you seated. They want as less interaction or as less cross-contamination as possible. And so they even will bring you extra plates, any sauces, cutlery and pieces like that, refill your drinks. And from the model that they had to start with to where they are now, in terms of the customer experience, I think it's been brilliant.
I think the only plus point is the filling up my drink, because I think that's the only bit I don't want to get up for, right? Everything else you've got beforehand, right? Everything, the drink, yeah, if you're filling that up, it's all good.
That's true. Bring us an extra food. That would be quite nice too, right? All the extra food that they bring.
That's for me, I'd probably say Nando's for non-Indian, but Indian food, I'd probably say Regency. And that's where I'll be making my trip there.
Yeah, I think we're both on the same line there.
As soon as I can make that trip, I'm there. I can't wait, honestly.
Apparently they have the best chicken wings, right?
Yeah, you've got to try the crispy fried chicken wings, honestly.
The chicken wings are the best, right? Yeah, need to try
It's
those.
making my mouth water thinking about them.
We're all vegetarian. What do you mean?
Oh, sorry, yeah.
Hands up, I'm a vegetarian. Yeah. Sorry, couldn't do it. My wife is. Man. One of us.
At least one of you. The South.
Well, this leads to another conversation, actually. So Anish is saying, what about the best vegetarian restaurant?
Is there a best vegetarian restaurant? This is my husband, by the way.
Is there anything of that sort? Can somebody please let us know?
No, there must be, man. But is there anything personally that you would recommend?
Domino's Pizza.
They're not vegetarian. They're definitely not vegetarian. I can't even think of any vegetarian ones. I think he's saying that because he knows that we've been for something recently, but I can't even think. Well, we couldn't have been to somewhere recently, right? Maybe it's a year ago.
Yeah.
That's why the age kicking in again.
Don't worry, we're all approaching it. Every week my wife says to me, can I dye your beard? All the greys, and they need to go. And I'm like, no, I'll grow gracefully grey. Thank you.
Nice. Yeah, but it is. I think I've got the same, But anyway, we're not looking there again. Oh dear.
So let's get down to business. Obviously, we wanted to talk about Gujarati today, and I guess let's go with how you started that journey. What was the reason why you wanted to fulfill that passion and desire, or what sparked that itch?
Okay, so Gujarati. So first of all, if I just say Gujarati is teaching little kids Gujarati, right? So the way that I teach it is very, very different because it's through songs and through games and things like that. So the reason that I started it 3 years ago, and it is almost 3 years, by the way, exactly 3 years ago, was after I had my little ones. We wanted to teach them Gujarati, but we didn't really know. We were trying to find different avenues of how we could actually teach them, and we were looking online trying to see if there are any songs or anything that would help with the process, and we couldn't find anything. We just couldn't find anything. And then one day, Anish he translated Baba Black Sheep. So I don't know if you guys have ever tried it at home. It's so much fun. So Baba Black Sheep in Gujarati becomes Baba Kadu Ghetu. Right? So it's so amazing. You learn so many different things when you do that. So he translated it and we literally looked at each other and went, this is amazing. This is quite cool. When we sang it to Sahil at the time, he looked very confused, but any 18-month-old kid probably would anyway, right? So he was, because the tune's familiar, but the rest of it was oh. And yeah, so we did that, and then looked around and couldn't find anything out there. And I guess I was really keen to teach Sahil and Arya, both of them, Gujarati, because I thought, this is my mother tongue. I've grown up with this language, and I'd love for them to actually be able to speak it as well, because part of the culture, like where we live right now, where we're growing up and stuff, you speak predominantly in English, which is what like we're doing it right now as well, right? So because you do that, because when you go to school, etc., it's all in English. So where does that bit come in? Where does your language come in? Where does that come out? And yeah, so from that, we basically thought to ourselves, okay, there must be other people who are thinking the same way that we are. There must be other people. Did a bit of market research and realized that, yes, there's a lot of people looking to teach their children Gujarati, but not really sure where to go about doing it. So I got going. I started singing lots and lots of nursery rhymes, translating them all into Gujarati. And then I got really inspired. Like I'd be showering aria and stuff, and I just think of different songs. So I've got like bath time songs, and I've got there's just so many different songs, like meeting little animals and about the house and so on. So there's like lots and lots of different songs that I started coming up with. So I went into the recording studio, recorded these songs down, and then started writing lesson plans, invited people in, and the Gujarati journey began. It's been, like I said, 3 years, and it's grown and grown and grown because people, effectively, they want their little ones to learn Gujarati as well. They want to retain that cultural heritage.
Absolutely. So, like for us, it's one of the main reasons for implementing the platform in itself is that, like, I'll hands up and put it up and say, like, I've never been very good at Gujarati. I went to Gujarati school as a young child. I think I did a semester or two, and I was like, look, mum, dad, it's really not for me. Like, and I was quite, like, hands-on, I was okay, but, like, in terms of on paper, I wasn't very good. That has developed over the years. I've kind of perfected my style and technique. So, you know, we've explored and broadened our horizons. But the fact is, like, when I had Jaden, it did hit me. It hit me like a train. And I was like, I want to be able to explain to him why we do certain things. I want him to be able to communicate with the rest of the family, like the elders in the family and so forth. And so I need to go on a journey to explore and to understand so that I can then be able to put that information back to him. Do you know what I mean? And I think you do. It really does hit you when you become a parent that although you may not have been such or someone to go and do some of the cultural things or learn about the culture and explore it as much, but having now you've got this responsibility to pass that on to the next generation, that level of understanding and, you know, all of the things that we do within our culture and the reasons to why, I felt a massive weight of responsibility on my shoulders.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great thing that you're doing. It's such a good platform for that because it's not just about the language. There's so much other stuff, right, that you want to kind of be able to impart to them because you're right. You have a huge responsibility. You're the one that they're around so much. And if they're not going to get it from you, where are they going to get it from? It's not going to come from anywhere else. And I think the other thing that's a challenge is that there's so much stimulus for children. There's so much stuff going on that often this can get hidden and can get lost. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're not necessarily going to pick it up in any place because they might not find it interesting. They might not want to learn it. But if you can make it fun for them, if you can make it exciting and engaging for them, then why wouldn't they? Because you mentioned, right, learning Gujarati as a kid when you were a kid, and you got put off by it. So what was the reason? Can I ask what your reason was for
to be fair, I think at the point I was like, I go to school for 5 days a week. I don't want to go on a Saturday. Like I wasn't very good at writing and like, you know, the actual written sections. I could understand it verbally, but I wasn't very good speaking it. Like, although, and that's really weird. Like we can understand it even from a young age, like we'll understand it, but trying to construct that sentence in our own minds, we can probably say it up here, but as soon as it gets to here, it's something completely different, right?
It's so true. It's so true.
And over the years, like Reshma and I, we went to India a couple of years ago, about a year after we got married, and she was like, oh, you know, your Gujarati is terrible, how are you going to speak to people and things like that. And when we were out there, I just challenged myself just to push as much as I could. Do you know what I mean? Like there are things I pick up, there are things that I can say up here, and it's just, you know, connecting the two. So I just want to be able to make sure that we can move that forward, because if I can't do it and it gets lost at me, does that mean just because I didn't implement it at home, is he not going to take that on? And, you know, that's a knock-on effect on the future generations, right? Yeah. Do I want to be the missing link? No.
Do you know, that's such a good point, though. That is such a good point, because as the generations go on, the dilution is huge, right? Like every single generation, if you don't 100%. Do it, if you don't teach them, then it's going to disappear.
Bob and I have always agreed that when we've asked our parents certain explanations as to the reasons why we might do a certain thing on a certain day, it's because we do it. It's tradition. We've not really been given the formality of what the actual, you know, build up behind it was and the reasoning. And I think for that reason, that's why a lot of people, like our generation or the younger generation as such, they'll always question the integrity of what's being told to them, because they've always been told, like, you know, don't do things just because the next guy does it, understand why you're doing it. And we're applying that, but we're also getting a response that's frustrating, because the people that we're asking can't define it, because they were never in a position to question that.
No, you know? Exactly. They never did. So they never knew what the reasons were, what the rationale was. Yeah. And it'll never get passed down. And it will just be one of those things, okay, got it out, but we do it, you know, it just gets done. And then like, well, and this generation, that's the thing. This generation, now we do ask that question. We always say, like, how come we're doing this? You know, why should we just do it? And again, I think that's because of the fact that, you know, we've got a real squeeze in terms of our time. And you've got so many things that you want to fit in, and then all of a sudden someone says to you, we've got to go to this puja, we've got to do, you've got to do this particular thing, and you're like, hang on, I could be, you know, playing this, that, and the other with my friends or whatever. Why should I go and do this when there's no rationale for it? What's the point?
Yeah, they're wondering what the significance to their life is of that. Yeah,
completely. But it's it's interesting, and I think for on the language side of it as well, the dilution is such a worry, because it's so easy to go into English and just speak English, and it's like you said, if you're not speaking it at home, then what chances are there of your child picking it up? And I guess that's why one of the things that I like, there's quite a few things that we do in class and stuff, but it's so important that whatever we learn in class, it's really important for parents to then take that home with their child and practice a lot of the stuff that I would give, you know, in terms of tips and so on to learn during the week. But also things like the music as well. It's always great to like have it on in the background, because you learn from that stuff. The kids, you know, it doesn't matter what age they are, they pick it up and they learn. If they're hearing it in English and they're hearing it in Gujarati, they'll put those things together and start making sense from it. Exactly. Yep. So I think it's really important to keep it like there, present around them all the time. It's not just about like in class. So
yeah.
Do you feel like the obviously the people that come to you with their children and stuff, like, are the parents as versed in Gujarati as, you know, their kids are going to be in due course, or is it actually just the other way around, and, you know, they want to teach their children because they haven't had the opportunity to get there?
So I think there's a bit of a mixture, but for the most part, it's parents who are saying that they can speak in Gujarati, but they don't practice it at home, and they're worried that their child isn't going to learn it. So, so that's one sort of segment of people, and then there's another segment where there's a lot of sort of dual heritage kids, and often I get whichever partner doesn't speak Gujarati as a mother tongue, they often contact me and say, we want our child to learn, but can we learn as well? So it's like they bring their kid along so that they can learn Gujarati, so that they can then speak to their mother-in-law or whatever in Gujarati as well. So, and they want their child to learn as well, which is, you know, it's great. So
does that make you feel even more enthusiastic about delivering, like, you know, your sessions?
Completely. It's yeah, definitely. It's so nice, actually. I think it's so good, but I always get messages from parents saying, I didn't realize those were the words for that particular thing. I've learned something new in class today as well. And I'm like, literally every single class I'll get someone saying that to me, that they've learned something new, like the parents have. And yeah, I think, why not? Because you're bringing to life those words, and the language again becomes more relevant today for them. And then they'll start, like, a lot of the time what happens is that they say that their children then go and have conversations with the grandparents to say what they've learnt in class. How fantastic is that? How wonderful is it to create that that sort
You've
of
delivered that for them to experience.
Common language for them to speak in, and it's a language as opposed to just something else. And it's that really does make me happy. It really makes me happy. Just to hear them.
Today I spent a little bit of time looking at your website, like your social spaces, and seeing some of the feedback that you've had as well. And even for me to read that, and as someone who's a prospective looking at your footprint, it would make me even more enthusiastic to get in contact with you. The fact that you've had people that have left those reviews saying, like, my toddler was so excited to watch your show that I think it was we couldn't get her out the house, or we couldn't get her ready into the car, and as soon as I said I can play Smitty Massey's show, she was like, bosh, out. It's feedback that is so inspiring that for me it definitely draw my attention and think, okay, let's find out a bit more about this.
And Jay, the funny thing is that I haven't even put a fraction of the messages that I get up on social spaces. That I get so many messages, and it honestly, that's the thing that keeps me going, because it's like a little family. It's like a little Gujarat's Parivar that has been created, because everyone has a shared sort of vision of getting their children learning Gujarati, and it's amazing the kind of the communication that we have between the parents and I. To sort of show how the children are progressing, but also just their happiness at being able at seeing how their children are progressing over time as well. And it's lovely. It's lovely to see. It keeps me going. 100% keeps me going. Because
one thing I do want to say is a huge well done and a congratulations. Like, what you have implemented, what you've set out to achieve, and what you have achieved is very inspiring, for the fact that one, you've started doing this off your own back. Secondly, your presentation skills are phenomenal. For someone to come on a screen, and especially looking at a camera and having interaction via the internet, it's not easy. People do it for TV presenting. We go out and we film people weekly, and they stumble, and they're only talking to a camera, and they're scripted or they're non-scripted. It might even be something they know all about. But the fact is, they'll stumble at every sentence. And the fact is, you've been doing this for a period of time. You'll go on, you'll deliver your content, and that takes a lot of planning, a lot of research before you even put it in there. And like you said, in terms of you monitoring their progression, where do you even start? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
this whole amalgamation of all of the steps and the processes that you've had to implement to be able to achieve the goal of being able to even hold a session and then mark that progress. It's phenomenal.
It is. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet. That's really nice to hear, actually. It's very kind of you. But I think it's like I said, though, the thing that keeps me going is the fact that I get this feedback, and the feedback that keeps coming in. I'm very much about two-way as well. Not two-way, sorry, but I like knowing that it's working for all the kids. Because if it isn't, I'm happy to change it. I really am, because at the end of the day, when you build something yourself, you can do that. You can be nimble enough to change things around, because it's not working for the kids, right? So then that's what it's about. It's about making sure that they're learning. It's good.
So what age groups did you start with? Sorry, B.
I was about to ask the same question, don't worry.
Yeah.
Same wavelength.
Same wavelength, it's good.
Absolutely. So when I first started out 3 years ago, because I was doing during the weekdays only, and I was doing physical classes, I was teaching under fives only, and it was under fives because obviously the other kids were at school, right?
At school.
And then so that happened until lockdown hit, lockdown, and then when that happened last year, I pivoted to go online, and then all of a sudden I had people asking me to come on. Of all different age groups to come to the classes, and I was like, why not? Let's do it. So now there's actually classes for up until age 12. So it's literally opened up hugely. So I separate them out and stuff. There's mixed classes, there are classes for under fives, and there are classes for over fives as well. And yeah, I mean, I'm continuously trying to introduce new things as well. So because I've got older kids in the class now, I'm trying to introduce sort of a little bit of written. So we're doing like the alphabet. Biologically, we're doing the writing on that as well. And there's lots of conversational things that we are doing now as well, which shows the script as well, which I think is important, because unless you see it, you're not going to start learning it and so on. So different age groups and different, feels like a completely different model today than it was this time last year.
And what's the youngest kind of kids you have on there?
Oh, you guys, your kids can come, because the youngest I've ever had in class is actually, she was 4 months old when she joined.
Wow.
Really?
And is still with me now. So she sort of came into the physical class, into the online classes. So this is someone who joined like 2 years ago. So she's now a lot older and has a younger sibling. And yeah, I guess generally now with the online space, I say about 6 months, from about 6 months to join, because I think it does completely depend on the child. I'm not saying that, they should all be able to come and that's it, it's fine.
Yeah.
I think it depends on if your child is happy to sit. I offer free tasters, which means that your child can actually just come along. You can see how they're interacting. The classes are about 30 minutes. So it's not too long so that they lose interest. But also, like when I'm doing classes for younger kids, it's more about the songs. So I
was just going to ask that as well. So one question that we have in the comments at the moment is, what would you say the best age to start is? I guess you kind of answered that in like what you just said there.
Yeah.
I guess my question would be is, at that young age, what sort of content do you deliver for that specific market group?
Yeah. So basically, when they are very, very young, the best thing to do is it's all about songs, right? So when they know the nursery rhymes, they hear those and they're like, oh, I'm twinkle, twinkle, let's sing Twinkle, Twinkle together. And then you sing that in Gujarati as well, but you'll go through some things and I'll have props and things like that, which help with the explanations and also with keeping their interest. And that's if your child sits, because I always find between 6 months and probably about 2.5, it's very dependent, right? If a parent wants to sit their child in a high chair and they're one-on-one with the screen, then that could work. However, sometimes what you find is that children will want to run around and so on. So some of them will take it in because they're listening, they're listening and absorbing. Yeah. Others, on the other hand, it's probably worthwhile waiting until they're ready to sit in front of the screen for a bit longer. So yeah, I'd say 3
And are you hoping to go back and, obviously once this whole lockdown's over, are you hoping to go back to in-class only, or kind of a hybrid between the both?
So it's funny you should ask that. So at the moment I'm online only, and because I started off with physical, I can see there's so many benefits of both. So I'm hoping to, and I also see that there's a big market for the online, because obviously I live in Northwest London and that's where the classes are. However, going online has meant there's people from Dubai and Portugal and Singapore, everywhere. They're coming from like globally now. So the online classes will always continue, and physical classes will hopefully be starting again in September. I'm hoping, fingers crossed. So let's see how that goes. Guys, I'm going to break for 2 seconds because I got to go and grab my charger, because otherwise my laptop is going to die. 1 second.
No problem.
No worries.
You guys chat amongst yourselves for a second.
We'll do, no problem. So, Mr. B, what's been happening with Kailin this week?
Well, since you saw him running riot, he has been. Today he was super hyper. I think it's the watermelon we gave him. He was just, they literally came downstairs.
It's funny you mention that, because even Jade and Reshma were saying this afternoon has been super, super hyper.
Yeah, like I'm talking about
he had some blueberry flavoured wafer today, and it was just after that, he was like, yep.
Yeah, and he was laughing too. He'll stand up, he'll take a few steps, he'll drop to the ground, start laughing again, stand up again, and keep doing it. I'm like, yeah, okay, like, I came downstairs, I'm like, what's going on here? And he's just going around the living room, just doing that, repeat. I was like, I'm glad you're enjoying yourself, but like, share the joke.
He's going to be doing it at 3 o'clock this morning, don't you?
Sleeping.
Walking around his crib, jumping up and
honestly, no, man. He sometimes does it, and I'm like how? What's going on here? Like, how have you managed to get up? And then he knows where the camera is, so he'll look at the camera and he will wait for us to come downstairs. And if we don't, then he starts making noise. Otherwise, he'll watch and just sit there waiting for us.
How's he getting on downstairs, actually?
He's cool, to be honest. Touch wood. Let's touch wood there. Yeah, he's okay. He's enjoying himself. He don't mind. He wakes up and then he'll wait for 5-10 minutes. If nobody comes down, then he'll start making a bit of sounds, and then we know, okay, he's awake, so we just go down and see how he is.
So Smitty, Barv recently put his son Kailin into like the room downstairs. So Barv sleeps on the top floor. Then they've got the first floor, which is where Mum and Dad and Kailin are now. So this is something new for him.
Oh my God.
Separation.
Usually people, I know, exactly. Normally people kind of go another room just over there, but you've kind of gone, another floor.
Another floor. Sorry, had to be done.
Is he making too much noise?
I'm not going to lie, there was separation anxiety, mainly on
From who?
Mainly on my wife's part than me, right? Because I was like, look, he's now at an age where he can make enough noise to let us know he's not, he wants something, right? He can make sufficient sounds. If he wasn't, then it's different, right? But, don't get me wrong, it felt really strange initially. But I think we were waking him up more than he was waking us up at night. And I think that's why he needed to go into his own room, into his own space, and actually be able to go through the night. Okay, he wakes up if he needs something, but other than that, he's quite fine to be on his own. And if we don't do it now, I've heard from many parents that years to come, that baby's going to be sleeping in your bed till like 5 years old. And I'm like, I don't know if I can handle that.
7 years old.
I can't handle that, honestly. It's not for me. I was like, let's just do it cold. And a lot of people do this whole sleep training. They put them in there, they say, for a whole day or a couple of days, etc. Cold turkey. Morning, woke up, crib downstairs, one nap, nighttime, you're in there on your own. See you later. And he was fine, honestly. He's alright. He enjoys it, and I think he's liking it. So, hopefully he gets through the night. But he's teething quite bad. He's getting so many teeth now. He's got like 7 teeth already.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a lot of teeth, actually, isn't it?
And
it was so cute because he's got a couple on the top shelf and a couple on the bottom shelf, and when he smiles, he's got a big gap on the side.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so sweet, isn't it?
But
this time, I bet they do. Don't
put your hand in there thinking that you're gonna get away with it as well.
Oh man, but this is the thing. This never comes back, right? When you see those little teeth coming through and stuff, this is a time that never comes back. Enjoy. When you're about 70, but
yeah, that's it.
The full circle. But yeah,
and then they'll be looking after us, hopefully.
Definitely. Speaking in Gujarati at the same time, right?
Of course. Of course.
If we've done our job right, then possibly.
તમારા દાંત લઈ આવું તમારા માટે.
I can
imagine that glass over there next to the dresser.
Yeah, exactly. What's the age gap between the two kids again for you two?
Aidan just turned 6 months. Yeah, so it's about 4 or 5 months.
4 or 5 months. That's so nice. They'll grow up together, won't they? Friends.
Yeah.
We hope
now
so.
that they know what each other looks like.
Well, yeah.
This is it.
Well, it's going to be one of those forced friendships, like, when your dad is say you have to be friends with this person. It's like that, right? Because we get along, so it'll be like, you have to go to their house, you have to do this, you have to do that.
We have a few of those. Listen,
we had that when we were growing up, and to be fair, like, they worked out quite well, and we're still friends till this day. So why not? So sometimes they say parents know best, right? So it works out well.
I like that because we're now parents, right? So
that's why we can say it.
We can say it now. I like that. Parents know best. Finally, I haven't even thought about that until now. Actually, I am a parent. It's been 7 years and I still don't realize.
It's weird to think about
I have the power,
isn't it? Sometimes I just feel like a big kid and with a bit of responsibility and like, what is going on in life?
It's just like we've got a new toy to play with, right? Like, he's here now, play around for a bit. Every morning is playtime. It's only when they get older will we realise, okay, now they're going to school, we've got to drop them to school, we haven't got to do any of that yet. At the moment, it's just morning, day and night. As we're at home, it's just playtime all day, which is all good and fun at the moment. Let's see what happens when they go to school.
Exactly.
This is
absolutely.
So Anish has got another question for you.
Yep.
I love how your husband puts you on the spot. It's always the partner that puts you on the spot.
It's just, why does he do this to me?
Anish, any questions you have, I'd love to see them all.
Just keep them coming, please. Just keep them coming.
So what would you say to parents to encourage speaking Gujarati at home?
Okay, what would I say to parents speak? So this is a good one, actually, because first of all, play the CDs. Play the CDs. I think that was a plug. That wasn't a plug, by the way. The fact is that you should play the CDs at home. So, to encourage them to speak at home. So first of all, I think you've got to take it into bite-sized things. So I think for me, the top tip is take certain words, take certain phrases that on a daily basis, you will say those phrases to your child only in Gujarati. So once you've translated those, you do say one sentence or whatever per week of, ja joda perilia, for example. So you're going to put on your shoes in Gujarati, right? Every single time you say it, that child will, eventually realize that is a sentence that you use. And then just keep adding to it. Just keep adding to it on a weekly basis. Keep on doing that. So I think that works really well. And I think encouraging parents, even if you did like 10 to 15 minutes every single day with your partner, practicing to speak with one another in Gujarati only, 10 to 15 minutes is actually quite a long time. But if you kind of have a segment of time every single day where you kind of go, this is a no English time. You can only speak in Gujarati. Don't do it when your children are at school because that's pointless. So do it when they're at home so they can hear you. So that's the best thing. So like if they hear you doing it, then they learn how a conversation actually goes as well. And if it's even if it stilters at the beginning, even if it's difficult to do, I think you'll find that even if you start off with just a minute a day, I think if you add on to that every single day and it kind of multiplies and so on, you'll find that it becomes easier to speak to one another, and on top of that it becomes more normal for your child, right? It becomes fluent, but also your kid kind of goes, that's not weird anymore, that actually feels a bit normal when they speak in Gujarati. It's a bit normal, maybe I can join in because I've been learning all these little
just thinking back as well, like when we were kids, obviously our grandparents who were, born in India for the most part, we would have that interaction if we went to stay with them or if we were there for the day. They would speak to us in Gujarati, right? So we were forced to learn and forced to understand, at least to understand and comprehend. Whereas our parents now, majority will speak English with us at home and so forth. And with the child being in that environment, there's less and less chance of, them picking up Gujarati terminology or just Gujarati in itself.
Completely. With the grandparents not speaking Gujarati, it's a real problem. You almost wish that, like the number of times I tell my my parents, my in-laws, I tell them all, Dada, Dadi, Nana, Nani, please speak to these kids in Gujarati as well, because then they'll pick it up. My mum's the funniest because when she'll make something for the kids, she'll translate it properly into English, so she'll go the complete opposite. She'll go, I made you this thing, it's a soup. It's dar, but it's a soup. And then, there's like saragor, and she'll be like, no, these are drumsticks, and I say, Mom, please just speak to them in Gujarati. Give them like a Gujarati word. And these are not even words. Like she's searching for the English term. And I'm like, just stick with Gujarati. I'm happy with that. That's really good, actually, if you teach them in Gujarati. But no, I don't know. I guess you're right. The whole grandparent thing is a massive shift, isn't it? Kids don't necessarily learn like that anymore. And I think that's the thing. Like when I grew up, I know my mum and dad spoke to us in the house in Gujarati the whole time. I know she's changed now, but when I was growing up, it was all Gujarati, and it's very easy to pick it up in that way. Very easy. And I think, I don't know whether you mentioned going to India. You mentioned you'd been to India, and I guess when I was out in India, I stayed for about 3 months at one point, and my Gujarati was amazing when I got back. It was just so good because you're doing it day in, day out, and you even learn words that you didn't know you knew, or remember words that you didn't realize you knew and stuff.
This is it.
So yeah.
But you say that now, when you go to India, they speak to you in English rather than speak to you in Gujarati.
Mate,
everyone, and I'm like, what's going on here?
It's true, isn't it? It's you got. Oh my god, I've just seen that message. Sorry. Oh, Sahil and Ari, I love you too. Oh, there you go, Sahil. Oh, no, sorry, I'm just seeing my lovely messages.
He's only put his name down.
He wants the publicity.
He does, doesn't he? He often comes in. It's true. He often comes into class with me and teaches, which is lovely. It's so nice. He gets he gets into it, which is great.
It's nice to see them being intrigued by something that you're engaged with as well, isn't it?
Definitely. I think it's difficult as well because I think it takes mummy away from being mummy a lot of the time, and I'm pulled away because of Gujaratis. But at the same time, I think, funnily enough, before lockdown, they couldn't actually attend any of my classes. They've been able to attend the classes because it was always when they were at school or whatever. And then when lockdown hit, because classes were online, they actually sit on a different floor and can attend. They watch mummy. Yeah, exactly.
I have a question, right? And we've had this debate, I think, previously on the show, but I've also spoken to like other parents about it, where that question came up earlier about what's the right age. Now, what we've kind of seen and heard and spoken about is parents are scared that their child will pick up another language other than English, so in this case Gujarati, before they pick up English and impact them when they get older and go to nursery. You obviously have first-hand experience. How have you seen that with the children you've been teaching?
Okay, so it really frustrates me actually, because I think a lot of nurseries often say to parents, please don't teach them Gujarati before you send them into here because they get really confused. Are you joking? Oh my goodness. Children, when they're younger, they are sponges. They're sponges for a long time, but when they're very young, that's when they're most susceptible to learning. To stop them from learning a different language is the most craziest thing I have ever heard, because
there's actually some science to this as well, isn't there?
Yes, there is. And
like with Gujarati, with French and other languages in like Europe, for example, and this is why like a lot of Europeans are multilingual, because of the fact that the pronunciation and like the R's or whatever it is, there's certain things that we do in our culture and religion and the way that we speak our like certain vowels, letters or whatnot, that and allow them to accentuate and the pronunciation, which gives them a higher capacity to be multilingual than being taught English from the beginning.
Yeah, absolutely, and they're able to take it in. And why would you hold them back from being able to do that? And you're absolutely right. There are studies which show that if you learn from a young age, and if you are multilingual from an early age, then you're able to do so much more when you get older. You are a lot more creative. They talk about children being like opening up lots of job opportunities for kids as well, because they're able to adapt a lot more easier. They're using different parts of their brain when they're learning different languages, and that can only help them when they get older. And you're absolutely right. Like with my kids as well, when they talk in Gujarati, I'm very keen for them to learn how to say, pronounce the just the nuances to get them right, because if they learn from a younger age, it will be so much easier as they get older, and they won't speak in the with.
Like I'm sure Reshma told me when she went into nursery, she was speaking to her cousin. They're very close in terms of age, but she was like, the reports that my mum used to get is that these two just sit and talk with each other in Gujarati, and then nobody understands what's going on.
Oh, that's so sweet. And it's true though, isn't it? They do. But at the end of the day, they will pick up English because they're in this country and they're learning, everyone else around them is.
It's going to be the rest of their life, isn't it? Day-to-day learning and schooling is going to be in English.
Exactly.
So,
and I think this is the thing. I've had kids who come to Gujarats who, from a young age, were taught just Gujarati. Then they went to nursery and they lost it. They actually lost their Gujarati because they went to nursery and were taught just English. Then they're like, oh, I need to reprogram my child now to learn Gujarati again. So you have a bit of a balance in that sense to try
I personally think the kid can pick up probably both at the same time and be very comfortable with it. And,
absolutely.
But that's why I thought I'd ask the question and put it out there and see how you find how the kids are getting on.
100%. I 100% think that's really, it's really important, I think. So, yeah, thank you for bringing that up, actually, because I don't think there should be any limits put on children in that sense. They will pick it up. They will pick up English when they start. So, yeah.
Definitely. And I noticed also when I was searching your social spaces today that you have another online class launching soon. Or
Yes,
an additional class.
So yes, so those ones that's terrible actually. These ones have launched. I do need to launch some more as time goes on because classes are full. So I start again this weekend coming. So we have classes. We have about 3 classes this Saturday, a couple more on Sunday, but I think they're pretty much all full right now. There might be a couple of spaces left on Saturday. Sorry.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, and then we've got some spaces on Monday as well. But I often get the one thing that is on my. I mean, I'm sorry, I have to say this, but everything is now bookable online, which for me is like moving with this with technology. For me, technology is like whoa. So yeah, I have moved with technology. You can book classes online now, and it's so amazing because it's easy for me and it's easy for customers to do as well. But one of the things that I keep getting as feedback is that I've made a typo on my class timetable because I've got one class which is on a Monday at 11 o'clock at night. And that's not a typo. I actually do a class on Monday at 11 p.m. at night because it's my international class. So I get all the Americans and the Canadians coming into that one. So yeah, it's but yeah, so there's the big mixture, and it's all starting again from this Saturday. That's exciting.
And with that in mind, just for the general public, where can they find your website and social spaces?
So the website, so if you are looking to book or find out anything about Gujutots, the website is www.gujutots.co.uk. So it's GU as like their GUJUTOTS. Can I spell it correctly? .co.uk. And so that's the website. I'm also on YouTube. So if you want to see how Gujutots is taught, if you want to see some of the songs, there's loads of stuff on the Gujutots YouTube channel. And there's also tons of stuff on Facebook as well. There's lots of videos and stuff on there, as well as there's a little bit on Instagram as well. So Instagram, all of them are called Gujutots. I'm not very good at saying handles and stuff.
One thing that I will say is that you're very fortunate to have managed to get Gujutots on all those platforms, because as someone that works creatively, when we do brands and things like that, that's one of the hardest things, is to find it multi-platform, to find the same thing.
I know. Thank goodness for that, right?
Yep.
I will not change my name now. I can't rebrand, basically.
I did HinduDad because it was the one that I could find across all platforms as well.
Yeah. It's good, actually. Definitely. Keep it. But yeah, no. So website is gujutots.co.uk, and you can book online. Book a free place.
And if anyone wants any further information and stuff, can they just send you a message through Facebook, Instagram, etc.?
Yeah, they could do that, or they can WhatsApp me as well. I can. Should I say my number? No, I won't give my number. That's fine. I can do, but it feels a bit weird saying my number on here.
I know, right? I think Facebook, Instagram, DM, and the website. The website's got a contact area as well, right?
Yeah,
it
has. Definitely has, yeah. So feel free to ask any questions about the class. And yeah, definitely. I also, like I said, I have the CDs, but they are running out. I think I've only got 2 left. Those I haven't replenished, actually. So I feel sold out of those. But no, it's been brilliant. Thank you so much, guys. It's been really nice talking to you.
Thank you for joining us.
It's been really, really lovely, very enjoyable and chilled.
One thing that I want to ask you before we let you go, if you've any advice for a new parent, what would it be?
Any advice for your new parent? Your child is only going to be the age that you see them at that point in time, right? If you are a new parent, please make the most of every single moment that you can, because that child will never go back to being 0, 1 month, 2 months, etc. So my advice 100% is just to make the most of that kid, because there's so many milestones. You can't. Yep. There's so many milestones, and it's very easy. Like I do it a lot right now, to sit on your phone and, you know, to do something else whilst you're playing with your child. But if you give yourself 100%, if you give your child 100% attention, at least for some moments of every single day, you'll actually see them growing up, as opposed to look back when the kid's like 1 year old, 2 years old, and kind of go, oh, I didn't even realize that went. So I would make the most of do something every single day that will help it become memorable. So that's my advice.
Yeah, that's pretty solid advice, to be fair.
I was going to say it's probably one of the best I've heard. So
are you guys doing that?
I do, yeah.
No,
like when I tend to leave my phone in the office and then just go for a walkabout and then spend time with Jaden. So like for me, I'd rather be engaged with him than in my phone. And if I'm on my phone, then I'd rather be on the phone and get that task complete.
Yeah, that's good. It's good advice.
I think being at home just helped. I think being at home just helped us. It's so much easier now to give them that more time as well, right?
Definitely.
Use that extra couple of hours you get, you're like, oh, fine. And that's why when he wakes up, you're like, oh, forget the work for a minute. Let's just sit down and talk to him and give him some entertainment and just have that conversation.
Literally, you can't beat that smile, innit? You know, the one where they first wake up for the day or like after a nap and you're the first thing that they see and they're just like...
Yeah.
Yeah, like you. Definitely.
Oh, no, it's like, oh, now I'm awake. Let's cause some mischief now. Yeah, let's go. That's the one that it's a cheeky smile, and I'm like, yeah, what are you up to now? Let's go.
Yeah, you're your father's son is what you're thinking then, isn't it?
But that's exactly it, right? You know, I know what you mean. Let's go.
Your kid sounds mischievous. Your little one sounds very...
If he's anything like his father, he's going to be.
Yeah, I think he's so innocent, where he doesn't even want to be like that, and he's all so innocent, but it's just the way he comes. He's so cheeky. You could just tell he's got this cheeky personality already, and you're like, you know what? And I don't know how he's just picking things up every day, and you're like, how do you even know that's what you need to do what you need to do there? It's amazing.
Wait till he's 16. Oh my God.
Oh,
you got loads.
I had said that to Reshma today. If our kid gets up to what we used to get up to when he's like, you know, in his teens, we're in trouble, man.
And you know how your parents felt now, right? You'll know how your parents felt.
I don't want to think about how they felt.
Yeah, that's the point, right? It's just like, no way.
I know. I look back and I kind of think to myself, when I was younger, like, honestly, I would go... I know that this is like live broadcast and stuff, but I used to go out at midnight. I would leave the house at midnight. Now, if my children come to me and say this, what am I going to say to them? This is live now. I've recorded it. It's done. Okay, they can go out. They're allowed. They have to be allowed. But yeah, it's tough, isn't it? To kind of go, they're going to do what you did.
It's not even that though, like, especially like when the first child starts to go out or gets to an age where, you know, 17, 18, I want to go out, mix with friends and socialise. Like, I remember when I was that age, I'm the eldest in like our family, and you know, my dad found it very difficult to trust the people around, forgetting about me. And there was one night where I went out to a house party, and he was like, "You better be home by 12." And like, I think I must have made it by like literally a minute. And I walked into his bedroom, and I was like, "I'm home, Dad." It's literally that time. And he was like, "Jatinto, how are you?" Which means, "Jatin, are you home?" And I found it hilarious. At that point, I was just like, no, I'm just here to say I'm going to be 10 minutes late. You just hear him chuckling away in bed.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Oh, memories, right? Memories.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we'll be a little bit more tame by the time we're their age, right? So,
fingers crossed.
But are you going to do what your parents probably did? Is like, oh, message us when you get there. Tell us what time you're coming home. Let us know this. Let us know that. Are you just gonna be like, okay, fine. I'm
gonna let Smitty answer this question first.
You told me only one bad question. Do you know what? Can I just say, before the kids were born, I remember saying to Anish that I want my kids to go out and enjoy themselves, right? And I remember saying that if my kids came home before midnight, I'd shove them out again, and I'd say, just go, have fun. Now they're here, no. You ain't going anywhere. So I don't know. Let's see what happens when they get here, right? I'd like to think that I can trust them enough and have such a good relationship with them that I can trust that they'll get up to good fun. Do you know what I mean?
The thing is, I also think it
responsible.
depends on the relationship that you share with your partner as well, right?
Yeah.
Because between the two of you, you set the standard, right? Like if they've witnessed, like, your husband might go out, he'll come back 3-4 in the morning, and then, you know, it's the norm and it's expected, then when they go out, they'll expect to do the same, and this, that, and the other. But I think as long as you've got that ground rules, those understanding between the two of you, like for me, we're in relationships, we've all seen relationships where you've got one partner that might be a bit more controlling or a bit more insecure about what the other person's doing when they're out and about. And, you know, as a child, we've been through those relationships. But one thing that we did when me and Reshma got together was we said to each other, the one thing that I don't want to do in this relationship is lie to you. I'll tell you the truth. We may not agree with each other's stance, but the fact is, you know, I'm not your keeper, you're not mine. So if you're going to go out for drinks after work, go out for drinks after work. Like, I want you to have your own social life in, you know, your own circle, right? And I think it's very important for mental health and sanity as well. So if you've got that relationship and you can keep that continuity and that openness in that relationship, and your children see that and experience that as well, and that they feel they can approach you, then realistically it shouldn't be much of an issue, right?
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
It might be your own insecurity that you might not want them to come like 3-4 in the morning, but the fact is you've set the standard, right?
Absolutely. We're role models, aren't we? That's at the end of the day, we're role models for them.
I hope so.
So whatever you do, yeah. Well, in whichever way, that's the thing, isn't it? We're role models in whichever way.
We are, whether we like it or not now, yeah.
Either way, that's it.
Exactly. But
fun times ahead.
Absolutely. It's just the beginning of the journey, isn't it? Right now.
We'll look back on this conversation in 18 years' time, right? We'll come back to
you know what I mean?
What did we say then? What was that viewpoint?
Yeah, exactly. And then you can. What are you guys going to do then? So, are you going to be like chilled out parents, or what's the plan? Like when the kids go out, you're going to say yes, it's fine.
Do you know,
I'll probably be there with them.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd probably be like, can I come? Like, come on, man.
Either can I come, or I've got my own plan. So whichever one of us gets home first has to look after like whoever's still there.
Fair enough. That's good.
I don't want to think that I'm not going to be still out and about in 18 years' time, right? I still want to be able to have some sort of social life.
Just to put it into context, Bob, how old will you be in 18 years' time?
I was just going to
50. Just turning 50.
Oh, you're so young.
To be fair, you could still be out and about.
At 50. If I can't have a social life at 50, something went wrong. What happened, man?
True. But you don't want to be one of those...
I don't want to be like one of those like 50-year-olds sitting at home watching TV all day, you know, just like not doing anything productive. Like, I want to be out there and just enjoying a social life, and maybe not till 3-4. Well, not till 3-4 in the morning, but yeah, I like to think we would still, as parents, have a social life.
But it kind of changes, right? Social lives change. It doesn't have to be
it's not going to be what it is now, right? 100%, right? Or what it was like 2 years ago.
What it was I know. Right now, it still exists, right?
Right now, there's no such thing as a social, but yeah, as long as there's some aspect of a social life, right? Whether it's just going to a friend's house, meeting up for dinner, whatever it is, you know, doing X, Y, and Z. You know, I'm hoping we can still do that, and by the time our kids are at that age, you know, going off to university and stuff, I'll be like, enjoy yourself. Message when you get home safely. Done. That's it. Like as long as you know they're well and safe and well, that's the only thing, right? You know that.
I think by the time our kids are 18, we'll be able to track them without their knowledge anyway. So.
But you hope. Are you going to chip your kids? Are you actually going to chip them?
Do you know what? Let's put this into context.
It might happen automatically.
Right? When we were young kids, there was no CCTV in a house, or there was nothing at the front of the house, or a Ring doorbell, or nothing. Right? No. Right now, we are enabled to track our kids infinitely.
Yeah,
and
true.
The question is going to be is when or how, as a parent, do you cut that off? Because again, that will be your own insecurities.
Yeah, it's true.
Do you know what I mean? So I don't think we want to answer that question just yet.
No, but I also think it's not necessarily just about how much you trust your child, but it's also society, right? It's the rest of society that you're going to worry about, and that's the thing that's the only reason for me at the moment, anyway. That's why I would want some knowledge of where they are and when they are. Do you know what I mean?
That's what I think the main is, like, I'm home safe. Like if they're at university or something, you know, they've gone out where I'm home safe. That's the only thing. Whereas, you know,
I think the common goal is just the fact that you want to know that they're okay and they've reached their destination. And I think until you become a parent, you don't really value what that means to a parent.
No, but that's exactly it, right? And you hope that the way you have your upbringing and what you teach them, they're going to stay on that right path, and they don't go down that wrong path. So you're not really worried about that side of it. You're just worried that actually they're just safe and well done.
Yeah, completely. Totally agree.
We'll see you in 18 years for this conversation.
And she's saying, Dad's at the door, not going anywhere.
No, you are letting them go out. They are. Let them go. Let them be free. But they should just enjoy it. With them. Trust me, if I could. Brilliant stuff. Cool, guys. It was
It has been. It's been a great show. I want to thank you very much for sharing this time with us and carving out that time from the family as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been so nice, being able to speak to you guys as well. It's been really nice. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm sure that we will have you back on the show in the future, maybe in 6 months' time, to see where you're at and how things are going. And I'm sure by then you will have implemented some more things along the way as well.
Hope so. Fingers crossed. Brilliant stuff. Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
Thank
you. Bye. And good luck as well.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you very much. Now, Mr. B.
Jay.
Mr. B. What was the scariest moment you've had to date with Kailin?
I don't know if I can talk about it on air now. Scariest moment.
I love the fact that you're completely unprepared for me to blast the question and that one as well.
The scariest moment, to be fair, I don't know.
Is it not when they're eating and then they start to choke?
Touch wood, he kind of got good gag reflex. So if something just manages quickly to eat it, he will take it straight back out again. So it's quite good like that. But
that's because they're nose breathers, isn't it?
Yeah, and you watch really carefully when he's eating. We're watching him like we're hooked to say, actually, what are you putting in your mouth? Are you eating it properly? Are you chewing it properly? I
love the way that Kailin lights up when you open up a biscuit. And
he loves it. He loves it, honestly. Snack, junk food is going to be his favourite. And initially I was like, we can stay away from junk food and this and that. The other day I was eating a Snickers and the guy was just staring at me. And I was like,
every time we eat now, man, I had the cheese and onion roll this afternoon and the guy was just like...
Yeah, it was chocolate and he was staring and I took a little piece, I'm talking the tiniest piece.
Yeah.
And then I just went there, put it in his mouth and his face just went, yeah, thank you. I was like...
he tried a bit of Weetabix today, bruv, mate, he did.
Weetabix is amazing.
He was
their best friend. Yeah, their best friend, honestly. Weetabix works wonders.
Reshma got these blueberry wafers as well, man. He was loving that stuff.
Interesting. Yeah, no, biscuit-wise, we go with these. I think we found these Heinz chocolate biscuits.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got the Farley's, which...
He's been having that for a couple of weeks now, man. We've gone through about 2
tasty boxes. Anyway.
Have you been trying? I haven't tried that. I tried a bit of baby food last week. I can't remember what flavour it was. I think it was peach and banana, one of the Ella's kitchen range.
Okay.
Didn't taste too bad. Very banana-y, quite sweet. Can understand why he likes it.
That's the thing. It's the sweet stuff that they like more. So we try and kind of mix it up. So I think this evening he had broccoli and pesto pasta.
Yeah.
So it gives him that bit of taste. To be fair, he enjoyed it, and then had some. I don't know what else he had. I think he had something else with it. I don't even know what he had for dessert after. But in the
I got a question for you.
Go on.
Do you miss when he was pre-solid food and it didn't take an hour just to feed him?
No.
You don't?
No. Only because I think I enjoy watching the smile on his face when he actually gets something he really likes and wants to eat it. At the times where he's not eating and he's like, no, move away, don't give it to me, then you're like, okay, that bit's a bit annoying, but actually generally he enjoys it. So you look at it and you look at the smile and you're like, actually that's super cool. You wouldn't want to, you never go back on that after that.
It's difficult, man. I was watching Kay when he was eating the other day and I thought in my head, oh my god, man, Because obviously right now it takes like 10, 12 minutes to feed the guy, right?
That's the thing, right? Is obviously the time it takes, but actually, and we're trying to time it now so that we can try and, hopefully we'll be able to master it soon, where we can all eat at the same time.
Yeah.
So actually, and he's quite self-sufficient. He wants to kind of take things on his own and just eat it, etc. So actually, we want to get to that level where we can do that, and I think that will be the game changer. That will be the one where you're like, actually, bang on, done. Let's all eat at the same time, because we've always done that as a family from a very young age. We've always eaten dinner together.
It's the same with us. But sometimes it's a blessing and a curse, though, isn't it?
To eat together.
Yeah, because then if you're coming home late or dad's coming home late and you've got to wait an extra hour.
Yeah, no, like generally, if I'm coming home late, I tell them, look, eat. And mum and dad will eat. Prayer probably will wait. 99% of the time, unless it's super late. But generally, at least two of us are eating together at all times. Ideally, we all eat together, and hopefully we can, end up Kailin into that routine very, very soon. But all those things to come, bro. Everything's going to come, and I can't wait for all these changes to happen.
That's it, mate. That is it. All right, mate.
Well,
let's
catch up next week.
Yeah, mate. I think we've had a really good show. I've had a great experience this evening. It's been a great conversation. I want to thank you again for your time this week, Bob.
Thank you, bro, and I will see you next week.
Fantastic, mate. Right then, everyone. Thank you very much for tuning in. We've had an absolute blast. This is Jay and Bob at HinduDad. We will see you again next week. Peace out.